Hi, my foodie friends. My name is Sue, and I've had over 40 years experience in the carnival concession business. I was a teacher and ran an 18-spot route in the summers and fall with the help of my husband. Today I want to talk to you about purchasing a trailer. Now, you may decide on a food truck, you may decide on a tent, and I'm going to talk about that in other videos. Today we're going to concentrate on trailers. Trailers are what I've always had. Well, I have worked out of buildings and tents, but I really like a trailer. It's self-contained, it's easy on, easy off when you get to a fairgrounds. Trailers come in all different sizes. They start at maybe 10 feet and they go up to 40 feet if you have a tractor trailer to haul it. We always had between 16 and 20 feet. We found that was the perfect size for us. Keep in mind that whatever size you get, for instance, if you get a 16, it's a 4-foot tongue. So when you go to book on a fairgrounds, you pay rent by the foot. So you don't pay on 16 feet, you pay on the 20 feet, which includes the tongue. So it costs you $50 a foot. That extra 4 feet is going to cost you $200 at extra event. I'm just saying that keep that in mind. Don't get something huge if you don't need the space. That will partly depend on your product. These concession trailers, I know this sounds astounding, but you can get a used trailer for $10,000. That's great. But you can also pay up to $200,000 for a new concession trailer. If you get a Chance or a Century, one of the big names, I like to divide the categories into the Volkswagen, the Ford, and the Cadillac. And the Chance would be a Cadillac. It's a trailer that has a hydraulic system. You press it, the whole trailer drops down gently to the ground. They have retractable tongues. You press a button, and the tongue retracts under the trailer, the old-fashioned kind. You have to pull a pin, haul the tongue off if you have a detachable tongue, and then store it somewhere, pain in the neck. I've never had a detachable tongue. But if you go with the Supreme, ultra, awesome new trailers, yes, you're going to be paying $200,000. So I've mostly done used trailers. I have had a couple of new ones, but honestly, a used trailer, these things are, I've had Wells Cargo, which I love. They're workhorses. I consider them to be in the Ford category, middle of the road. I've got a Wells Cargo I've used for over 30 years, still on the road. I've never replaced the floor. I've never replaced or patched the roof. I mean, it is really held up. And those are new now with some equipment in them, about $50,000. So keep it in mind, you can finance them. I'm going to put a link at the end of this video to some resources, including financing options. You have to decide what's best for you, but I highly recommend a used trailer. I'm also going to have in that list some sites you can go on to find a used trailer. So just saying, what are some things you should look for in a trailer? One is glass. You do not want to buy one of those cheapo trailers that you can get for $5,000 or $6,000. They're nothing but a converted cargo trailer. They have the fender flares. They're on the outside of the trailer, whereas if you get a professionally designed one, like a Wells Cargo, there are no fender flares. Your wheels are inside, so you have a smooth surface on the exterior. I highly recommend it. Speaking of smooth surfaces, I like a trailer that has a smooth exterior surface. Doesn't have the panels with the rivets in them, because when you go to put on your decals or wrap your trailer, that just makes it harder to apply those wraps because you've got all those little rivets. A little tip there. Okay, so as far as glass, in this business, the expression is flash is cash. The more people can see what you're doing inside the trailer, the more interested they are, the more apt they are to buy from you. If you have one of those cheapo trailers, they have a tiny little window and the awning usually slopes down on them, and they are just not very visually appealing. If you have to start that way, I get it. You can put a big decal on that blank space on the outside of the trailer where there should be windows. But really, if you want to get a good draw for your business, having as much glass as possible is very, very important. Is it expensive? Yes. Is it important? Absolutely. Okay, so let's start up here. I'm going to write glass, because to me that's important. And we talked about smooth exterior. we talked about the Volkswagen, the Ford, and the Cadillac. Okay. Fire suppression system. So now I've moved inside. Many states require the fire suppression system. There still are a few states that don't require it, but you're better off to put it in. It's expensive. Every fire suppression system, every trailer where you are cooking anything will have to have a hood, and the hood will have to extend over all of your cooking equipment. So it's not like you can put your grill on one side and your fryers on the other. That doesn't work. Everything has to be in a line on one side of your trailer. So you've got a hood. The hood, maybe you have a 2-foot grill and you have three fryers taking up approximately 4 feet. So now you've got 6 feet there that you've got to have a hood over. Most states, as I said, want the fire suppression system, and this costs you between $1,000 and $2,000 a foot. So that will help you decide on how big a grill you want, how many fryers you want. It's a terrible price, but there's a lot to it. The fire suppression system is hooked up to a built-in extinguisher on the side. You've got the piping. You have those giant kettles on the top. That's for the ventilation system. But I've looked around. This is just what it costs. And honestly, you're better off to have, if you're building in a trailer, let them put the fire suppression system in. But you have to budget for that. That's part of the cost of the trailer. You buy an older trailer and you play in states where the fire suppression system is required, they can install it. But again, plan on maybe $10,000 or $12,000 for that. And if you can find a way around it, please put it in the comments. I'd love to know. Okay, a marquee. A marquee is your signage. You go to a fair, a festival, and you see these concession trailers with these giant signs on the top. That's the marquee. And marquees are very, very expensive. Again, like the fire suppression system, there are only a few people who do them. You'll have to find somebody near you. You'll have to meet with them, tell them what you want, design the marquee. And then when it's fabricated, you have to bring the trailer there and have it installed. So it's time consuming, and wow, does it cost a lot of money. But if you go on a fairgrounds and you look around, those are the trailers you see with those giant marquees. I talked to a friend the other day who has a barbecue trailer, and he had a new marquee done, and it's like 10 feet tall, and it actually has a door in it. So he has to put a ladder up against his trailer. He can open the door, and if he had a problem like with the lights or something, and go on top of his trailer. It's amazing, but again, very expensive. You can look into that if you want. I have and on those marquees, there are some that are remote. So they fold down when you travel, and then you press a button and they come up and they lock in place. Absolutely amazing, but very expensive. Some of them you have to go up yourself and hand crank them up. And then there's another kind of marquee. I had a shaved ice trailer at one point. I had bought it used. It was already in use when I bought it at the end of the season. And the guy had made a frame out of PVC pipe, and he put banners. At each event, he put the frame together, and then he put banners on all 4 sides. And it didn't look bad, and it probably cost him a few $100s. When we first got the trailer and tried to put that marquee frame together, oh my God, I thought I was going to slip my wrist. It was crazy how difficult that was. He understood it. He had the corners, the things marked and numbered. It made no sense to us at all. That's a possibility if you don't have that extra money to put the marquee on. But eventually that's what you will want. Because again, flash is cash. Okay, lighting is very important. You want to have your signs backlit. All your signage, your banners, everything. You want to have plenty of lights because a lot of the business is going to come after dark. Those fairgrounds get packed with people, especially on the weekends, and they'll want to be able to see what you're selling. So lights are important. Don't cheap out on the lights. We talked about the removable tongue. Okay, drop floor. My trailers have had drop floors. A drop floor is where the front of the trailer is even with the tongue. You walk in maybe off the tongue, walk into your trailer, and then halfway through the trailer, it drops down about 6 or 8 inches, whatever the depth of a regular step is. And then the rear end of your trailer is usually your serving area, and that's where 3 sides should be glass. So for your help, or whoever's standing at the counter waiting on the customers, rather than looking at your knees, you're down a little lower, you can scrunch down a little, and they're looking more at you because they can see more of you because you're sitting lower. Remember, they're probably 3 feet lower than you anyway on the ground. So rather than be 4 feet lower, 3 feet, I like a drop floor. You buy a used trailer, you have to go with whatever it comes with, but that's just something, and not everybody makes drop floors. Okay, cabinets. Most new trailers come with cabinets, a lot of, and the used ones do too, and they're like kitchen cabinets. I hate cabinets. I always had one over my sink, that was fine. Under my sink, that was fine. Anywhere else, I hated doors on my cabinets. I liked open shelving. You can still have the cabinets, but without the doors on them, it's just so much easier to get your stuff in and out. You're not dealing with little glasses and plates like you use at your house. You're dealing with stock, and stock takes up room. And you want to pull out a sleeve of cups, that's hard to do if the kitty corner is stuffed in there and so forth. I don't know, it's a preference. I just like shelves. Of course, if you have open shelving, like wire shelves, you put a couple of shelves up there, but when you travel, you're probably going to have to take stuff off the shelves and put it in containers on the floor so it doesn't fall off. So you can check it out. If you get a used one, see what it comes with and work with that. Okay, a cash drawer. I think a cash drawer is important. If you read my book, you'll know that I started out, I had no idea what we were doing, but we eventually got our first trailer, and there was no cash drawer in it, so we used an old cigar box, and it worked. When we got really busy, this is no lie, we had a brown paper bag on the floor, and we just put the bills in the brown paper bag. It was crazy. Eventually, I became a little more professional. We got a cash drawer. You can buy a cash drawer on Amazon for about $100 if your trailer doesn't come with it. If you're ordering a new one, I highly recommend that as an option that you take advantage of, because otherwise, they're not that difficult to put in. It's brackets on each side of the drawer. The drawers are spring-loaded, so when the drawer is shut, it's shut after you serve a customer, and then the next time you press the button, the drawer opens, and you make the change, and then you close it again. And they're underneath, so people can't reach over, open the. I mean, I'm sure there are people who could, but it's highly unlikely that somebody's going to open your cash drawer from the outside. So I do recommend that. I like it, as I said, I like my trailers to be 8 feet wide, and I like them to be, I'll say, I like a 12 to 16 foot trailer. I don't like a 20-foot trailer. It's just too much. I don't need that much space. Depends what you're selling, how much you're cooking and so forth in there. Those are some things to keep in mind. Now I talked to you about the Volkswagen, the Ford, and the Cadillac. We talked about the Cadillac, Chance, Century. There's a few more, and they're in my list that you can have access to at the end of the video. The Ford is more like, as I said, a Wells Cargo. Lark makes a good concession trailer. United makes a good concession trailer, and they're not quite so pricey. And then the cheaper ones, I'm not going to name off names, but there are a dime a dozen. Miami has them. Houston, Dallas have them. Los Angeles has them. The port cities that are near water, because these trailers are coming in from China. And if you get them, a lot of times, a place in like Dallas, they're coming in from Mexico. So I'm not saying anything bad about anything made in China or Mexico. What I am saying is, honestly, you get what you pay for. And speaking of China, I have read numerous times on different blogs that people are ordering their trailers off Alibaba, and they're coming in from China. And I've heard horror stories about these trailers. The price is so appealing. I get it, but they're coming in with the electricity done for China, but not for the United States. They're coming in with, I've heard people, the box comes in, and then the frame is separate. and you have to put the wheels and the axles on at the port. And how do you do that? Do you get a tow truck? I don't know. It sounds like a nightmare to me. Again, I'd much rather buy a used trailer that I can walk into and see, or order from a reputable trailer manufacturer. And most of those, by the way, in the United States are kind of like in the Midwest. Indiana is very big for it. It's where a lot of your RVs come from, and also a lot of your concession trailers. So anyway, that's a few tips, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I have a link down below for a list of resources. If you're going to get in the business, you need to know where to buy your supplies, where to order your concession trailer, where to order your banners. There's a lot to it, and I have a free list. Click the link below, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and watch for my next one coming out soon. Thank you. Have a great day.